Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my September blog post of the author's pen. As you know, this is the second Monday of the month, so this is my video blog post, and I hope you enjoy them. I like to do them on the second Monday every month because it helps to keep us connected. Tonight's topic is tips to keep you happy. You know, I talked about this back in March of 2021 in a blog post, and a lot has happened in that time. So I think it's a good time to revisit it because God knows there's a ton of things happening in the world that make us unhappy in our own lives. Life is very difficult for a lot of people. The price of fuel, the price of food, all the global turmoil, people's fear of not knowing what the future is going to bring, what's going to happen with China, Taiwan, Ukraine, and Russia. Oh my God, it's just an ongoing battle of things to bring us down. And then add the aggravation of work and kids now going back to school and sports starting. It's, at the end of the day, you want to pull your hair out. So through all of this, how do we maintain our happiness? And I think that's something that's important for us to talk about. So let's do that. And I'm going to give you some tips to do that. There's one little myth that I don't necessarily believe in. And that myth is, or that saying is, I should put it that way, is no one is responsible for your happiness but yourself. Well, that's true to a certain degree. Happiness does come from within ourselves. However, the people around us, in the world around us, could certainly affect that to a great deal. I mean, come on. I am not happy about the fact that they're putting 87,000 new IRS employees into action to be able to audit the little guy, the middle class worker who does nothing but go to work 1.5 jobs a week or 1 job a week or sometimes 2 full jobs a week just to audit them, when the multi-billion-dollar companies who have the money to have all the expensive lawyers and accounting people and the money to buy all these flamboyant cars and jets and so on and so forth to obtain write-offs to lower their tax liability. You know, where's the fairness in that? Does that not make me happy? You bet your bottom it doesn't make me happy. And I'm sure it doesn't make you happy. So, all of the things around us do affect our happiness. So, again, that saying is not totally true. However, with that said, it all starts with us, from within us. So the first thing you need to do is, and the first tip to being happy is, determine what makes you happy. That's the first thing. You know, remember something about the news media. They want to report it. They report it. They report it before all the facts are in. And the story changes multiple times before the real deal comes to light. Now, during that process, it aggravates you, it frustrates you, it takes away from your joy, your internal peace, your happiness, and then to find out that it's either wrong later on down the road. I can never understand why you just can't report on something that's going on and then sit back, chill your jets, wait for the facts to come out, and then report on it. Instead of getting the world in a massive uproar and getting people worried over absolutely nothing. I wrote a post in one of my blog posts a couple of weeks ago about the terror and what's going on globally and what people are so afraid of. And, you know, I think I made it very clear in that post that people's fear of a nuclear war is absolutely ridiculous. There is no superpower that's going to go to nuclear war because it's going to mean self-annihilation. All right? And if for no other reason but people's sense of self-survival, it's going to stop that from happening. Our war is moving forward unless some little small country decides to grow a set. are going to be all economic sanction based. Problem with that, it's going to hurt us all financially. You, me, everyone else. The thing is, we have to get through all of this and maintain some type of happiness. So the first thing you need to do is determine what in life makes you happy. It could be that getaway on the weekend to your boat. Might be camping with your children. Might be going on a small little getaway. Spending time with your partner, your significant other. All of these little things that make you happy are the things that you need to focus on and the things that you need to continue to do. Now, you may have to scale them back some because the economy has changed, and that's normal. I mean, anytime anything happens in the economy that changes our income, we have to scale things back. But it doesn't mean you have to eliminate them. It just means you need to do them on a smaller scale. And happiness does not have to always be that flamboyant vacation to Disneyland. Listen, I moved to Florida a year ago, actually. A little bit over a year ago, 13 months ago. And there's so much to see and so much to do down here that I could be going 7 days a week, 24 hours a day if I want to. But that's not where my happiness lies, okay? Yeah, it's going to be an enjoyable trip, and it's something I may want to do from time to time. I've been to Disney World a couple of times. If I never go back there again, I'm perfectly fine with it. But there are things that I want to see. Our beautiful cities, such as Naples and other areas of Florida, and Venice that are beautiful, Vero Beach that is beautiful. And I want to see these places, and I will. But I will plan them. I will plan them when I could afford to do them. And I obviously have other commitments between my blog posts, doing some writing. And now that the pandemic has calmed down a bit, my speaking engagement tours are starting to pick up a little bit. And this is one of the things that I talked about that I wanted to raise in one of the engagements I did when I traveled up north last month was how managers need to stay happy at their job, because if they're not happy at their job, they can't motivate the people that work for them. So happiness is important on so many different levels. When you go to work, when you're at home, etc., etc. So the first tip is figure out what it is that makes you happy. I don't care what it is. It might be just coming home from work, relaxing, kicking your feet up, and watching TV for the evening. Happiness is a vague term, and it's very dependent on the perception of the individual person. What makes me happy doesn't make you happy. What makes you happy doesn't make me happy. So happiness is different for everyone. So you have to define first what's happy. What is happiness for you? What makes you happy? And don't do that by comparing yourself to others. You know, I have many, many friends and let me rephrase that. I have very few friends, but many acquaintances, okay? And I see the things that make them happy. And I'm very glad for them that they are happy. But those things don't necessarily make me happy. So comparing what makes someone else happy to what makes me happy is not the right way to do it. It doesn't make me happy to go out bar hopping on a Friday night, drinking all night long. Some people I know absolutely love to do it. It's not where I find my happiness. So again, don't compare yourself to someone else's happiness. Yours is different, and it's inherent to you, and it's specific to you. My second tip is, once you determine what makes you happy, seek it out. Do it. All right? The biggest problem we have as people is we talk about all the things we want to do and all the things we're going to do, and that's where it ends. We don't do it. So we're not fulfilling that happiness. Therefore, we don't get that internal joy, that internal peace, that contentment, and we're not happy. So if you know what makes you happy, For God's sake, seek it out. Enjoy it. You got to take care of you. You got to take care of you before you can take care of anybody else. That's my next tip. Take care of yourself. That's not being selfish. You're not taking anything away from your significant other. You're not taking anything away from your family. When I went up north to do the couple of speaking engagements I had to do, it was a great opportunity for me to see my son, who still lives in Connecticut, my niece, and my sister, and I spent a great deal of time with them. But I also spent a great deal of time with my friends. The friends that I made and the connections that I made up north, the people that I haven't seen in a year. So I took care of myself as well as taking care of other people to make them happy. So that in turn made me happy. The next tip I'm going to tell you about happiness is you got to give something back. Okay? You know, a lot of times our satisfaction or self-satisfaction comes by helping others. You know, I'm a big believer of that. Like most people, I've had neighbors my whole life. And, you know, if they're out doing something that's difficult, hey, I'll go out with a couple of beers and I'll give them a hand, and together we'll knock it out. You laugh, you smile, you have a good time, you might have a little bite to eat, and you gave something back. If you have a talent, give it back. All right? How many fathers have kids in sports and they love baseball, they love football? Well, get involved, okay? Maybe be an assistant coach. Be involved in the process. Give something back. Because through your giving back, you are fulfilling that self-purpose that we all have inside ourselves. We all feel we need to have a purpose in this life. And giving something back fulfills that feeling of purpose for us. And in turn, it makes us happy, gives us a good feeling. And in the process, a couple of things happen. We laugh, we smile, and we have a good time. When we laugh and we smile, that triggers certain endorphins and hormones in our body that affect our mind, the way we think, and the way we look at things. Because I will tell you now, if you sit down 7 nights a week and watch the news, you are going to be the most depressed person walking the face of the earth. So what purpose does that serve? Life is short, people. We have all had friends of ours that have died long before their time. Through illness, through accident, maybe through drug overdoses, whatever the reason. Okay? It should have taught every single one of us that tomorrow is not guaranteed to us. All we know that we have for sure is the present, today. So that doesn't mean you don't plan for tomorrow. That doesn't mean you don't plan your trip. I've already planned my next trip to Connecticut, which is going to be around the holidays. Okay? So we do that, and we plan to do that. So find your happiness. And once you find it, do it. Seek it out and do it, because that is what is going to keep you in a positive state of mind. You know, when I talk to, when I talk to these managers at this small company that I did an affair at, the key was motivation. If you can't motivate yourself, how are you going to motivate others? How are you going to motivate your significant other? How are you going to motivate your children? We don't live in a world anymore that we dictate to our children what they're going to do and they, boom, snap to and do it. Those days are long gone. That old school thinking doesn't exist anymore. The values and the morals may still be there for a lot of people, but this old school thinking doesn't exist. Our kids grow up, and very, very young in their lives, or very early in their lives, they develop minds of their own, as they should. This helps them to grow and become mature adults, with our guidance and help, of course. Okay? Find what makes you happy. Seek it out and do it. That's the key. So let's just recap these things and make sure you got them down. And hopefully this video blog post will put your mind at ease a little bit, because there's going to be things that always come up in all our lives that don't make us happy. We're not going to be bubbly all day long, and we're not going to be bundles of joy 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There are certainly days we are not going to be happy campers, and that's okay. It's when that day turns into 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row, and then that becomes our life. That's the problem. And let me just give you one more example, because it recently happened to a friend of mine. You know, when we move from one house to another, and, you know, I remember years back when I lived on a boat for a few years, and I moved from my house to my boat. Man, it was stressful as hell. Oh my God, what am I going to get rid of? I can't fit this on the boat. Do I want to pay for storage? Do I really need it? Do I need to save it? Moving should really, as much work as it is, should be a happy experience for you. You're going from one environment to another environment that you want to be in that's going to make you happy. But you take that happiness away by the amount of stress that you put on yourself and getting the task done. So just don't do it. It's all going to get done. Enjoy the process. Okay, so in review. 1, know what makes you happy. 2, seek it out. Go after it. 3, do it. 4, don't compare your happiness to someone else's happiness, because what makes people happy is different. 5, take care of yourself. Think of yourself. You're not being selfish. By thinking of yourself and taking care of yourself, you're taking care of others. 6, give back. Give something back. Give something to others. And finally, whatever you do, whether it's moving, going on vacation, whatever, don't let it stress you. Enjoy the process. By enjoying the process, when you get there, you will enjoy the act. Okay? That's my message for you this month in September. And this is important, especially as we are approaching the holiday seasons, which always get hectic, like Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and all the travel and all the cooking and shopping and so on and so forth. Embrace it. Enjoy it. That's where you're going to find your happiness. Okay? Just as a reminder, I have a lot of courses on udemy.com on writing, business, and other issues, or other topics, I should say. All you do is go to udemy.com, type my name in the search bar, and you can see all my courses. With that said, on the bottom of the screen is my email address. If there's any topic that you'd like to see me speak about, by all means, send me an email. Also, as you've noticed in the past 3 or 4 months, I've had a couple of guest blog posts by other authors or writers, or even anybody for that matter, regardless of your profession. I always welcome guest bloggers. So if you have a blog that you'd like to write, send it to me in an email. I'll review it, and we'll get it up on the website. Okay? So with that, be safe, stay well, and be happy. Good night.